bi-weekly stream where I update whoever is willing to listen on the latest scientific discoveries. I don't really have a script and I don't have a plan at all. Well, I guess you could say that my only plan is to browse the websites of the top scientific journals and scientific organizations and just talk about whatever research or findings seem interesting. And once I have viewership, my plan is to have whoever's in the chat pick out what kinds of papers or scientific discoveries that you want to talk about. But for now, since I'm brand new to Twitch, I'm completely and utterly alone. So I'm just gonna look at whatever papers I want to look at. I'm a biologist by training, so a lot of the research I look at will probably skew towards biology, but who knows? Maybe if I'm feeling up to it one day, we will wander on over into physics world or social science land or neuroscience land, and we'll look at some of the research there too. But for now, so I'm on the website for the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, a pretty well-regarded journal, especially among researchers in the United States. And I'm going to go over into their biological sciences category. And let's see, what kind of topic am I interested in today? Well, I have a pretty strong affection for genetics, so let's go ahead and see what the latest research is in that regard. Okay, so right away, seeing lots of research on, oh man, wild dogs. That sounds interesting. Yeast, that's boring. Drosophila, that's boring. Those are very common organisms studied in science, fruit flies and yeast. But let's see if we can find anything that's a little more novel. Genome sciences. Let's try another page. Nothing's jumping out at me quite yet. Gotta love anything to do with a genome. Ooh, honeybees. I feel like everyone loves honeybees. Let's see here. Honeybee colony aggression. Be interesting. I didn't know honeybees were that aggressive. They seem so cute. All right, so this is a commentary for a scientific article. Let's go to the actual scientific research itself. All right, genetic regions influencing aggressive behavior in honeybees are defined by colony allele frequencies. All right, there's a lot to unpack there, but I guess it's essentially this article was looking at the genetic basis of aggressive behaviors in honeybees. That's pretty interesting. It's always, I don't know, it's always difficult, I think, to look at animal behavior from a genetics perspective, because behavior is just such a complicated trait. You can see why it's interesting to study. Let's see what I have. This one's behind a paywall. Okay, well, actually, if I had a plan last time, let's see here. Don't tell anyone that I do this, internet, but we're going to try to pick up this article real quick. Should never have to pay to look at scientific research. That's just absolutely ridiculous. Scientific research should not be behind paywalls. Luckily, our friends over at Sci-Hub, hello, friends over at Sci-Hub, at least papers that are behind paywalls for our perusal. Let's see here. This will load up. All right, awesome. I don't know. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and download it so that we don't have this lady waving at us. Let's just look. So I don't really plan to, I'm not going to like read these. I just want to look at the figures. Not many people know this, but scientists have an uncanny ability to make beautiful graphs. Oh man, this one looks interesting already. If I can scroll properly to get it into view. All right, so let's try to figure out what's going on here. So my plan is to not actually like read these papers, but look at the figures and then try to piece together what the paper's actually about just by looking at the figures. Because the figures are those are always like the most interesting parts of the paper anyway. So let's see here. For this first figure, we have number of colonies on the y-axis, and then some measure of defense. I assume some kind of colony defense on the x-axis. And then here we have just a kind of histogram, I guess, showing the frequency of colonies with a certain level of defense. Interesting. I wonder how they measure defense in that case. And then here, panel B, we have some strange kind of network showing different colonies as these different clusters, or I don't know, modules, I guess. Not too familiar with the terminology of networks, but each one of these little nodes here is probably some kind of colony or bee individual. And then, okay, so maybe it's different. Each little shape is a colony, and then its color corresponds to the level of defense. I don't know why they're different shapes. Like there's some squares and some circles. I don't know. Interesting. And here we have just some amorphous blob in panel C, where again we have some numbers and they're all going towards this star right here. Gotta be honest, this looks a little bit more like a treasure map than a I don't know, an interesting figure. If I knew what it was about though, then it'd be pretty cool. Ah, okay. Now this here is a classic, I guess you'd call it a Manhattan plot. So these are pretty famous in genetics research, especially. Plots like these are used to identify regions in DNA that encode for a particular trait. So on the y-axis here, vertical axis, we have a measure of what's known as statistical significance, or essentially the strength of the evidence that a particular region of the DNA is associated with a particular trait. And the higher each one of these dots represents a different DNA region. And the higher up a particular dot is, the stronger the evidence is that that region of the DNA is associated with a particular trait. And here, all the masses of dots are split up into groups. Here, these groups are called linkage groups, but I think another word for that is just chromosomes. So if you're more familiar with chromosomes, just substitute that in. And this line here, so I'm guessing that this line denotes the threshold at which the evidence is strong enough to say that a particular DNA region is associated with trait. I guess the trait in this case would be colony defense. So looks like they have quite a few significant hits here. I guess that makes sense. I would imagine that there are a lot of traits involved in any kind of bee behavior. Let's see here. I have a similar looking plot here, but I'm not entirely sure what it is. It's pointing out just a group of DNA regions on the same chromosome that I guess are all associated with the same colony defense trait that they're looking at. Then they have just like, let's see here, this other panel over here, panel B, they have, okay, position on the x-axis that refers to the location of a particular piece of DNA in the organism's genome. Colony association, proportion of ancestry, natural log of RSB. We'll come back to that one. Let's see, have any other interesting figures here? I don't think so. There might be some in the supplemental, but we don't have time for that. There's plenty of other research out there. But overall, looks like these guys probably identified some gene underlying aggressive behavior in honeybees, which is pretty interesting. I wonder what would you do with that information? Could you use it to breed especially aggressive honeybees? And I don't know, maybe you could use those super aggressive honeybees to become some kind of honeybee supervillain. What would you call a honeybee supervillain? Honeyville. I'm sorry. Okay, well let's try to find a different paper. Hearing loss could be interesting. Genetic inheritance, DNA methylation. Let's go to a random page. If I don't have much luck with this, I'll try a different topic. Viral infection. Transposable elements are really cool, but I don't know, I'm not really feeling up to it today. Circadian rhythms are also pretty cool. Oh man, this paper. I remember seeing this one a while ago. Evolutionary history of lions. I mean, the internet, I don't think there's anything the internet loves more than cats, so let's see if this paper is interesting. It doesn't look like it's behind a paywall either, so even better. All right. We'll load eventually. Try to find the interesting, take a look at the interesting figures. Go ahead and close out that previous article. The lions are super cool. Let's zoom in here. I'm sure the video quality is pretty abysmal on Twitch because I'm just streaming off of my laptop right now. So, I mean, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. Eventually, you know, my plan will be to invest into some better hardware and improve this, what I'm sure is not great video quality, but at the moment, you know, I'm just stereotypically poor student. And once I save up some money and um, know that this streaming stuff is something I want to keep doing on a regular basis, I'll get some better equipment. So let's see here. Got a nice map of Africa. Um, and have a bunch of different locations marked out, assuming those are different lion populations, probably. Yeah, so the different colors refer to different lion populations, and different shapes occur to correspond to different times in history. So let's see here. The square points are ancient lion populations, and then the diamond points are historical lion populations. I'm not entirely sure what the difference is between ancient and historical. You'd think that, I don't know, you'd think that ancient times are also a part of history. So that's kind of confusing, but I'm sure there is a distinction, but I'm not going to read it. I just want to look at the cool figures. So, okay, so there are ancient lion populations up in Siberia and Alaska, looks like, with more present-day lion populations in India and let's see, East Africa. Test of my geography skills, my world geography skills. This is a cool phylogeny of relatedness among different groups of lions. So looks like each different group is given a different color. South African lions are red, Asian lions are blue, and so on. That's pretty cool. And then way back here you have the ancestral leopard. Cave lions? I don't know what cave lions are. Never heard of them. Which one of these lions is which one of these lions is in Lion King? That's my only question. Let's see here. Ah, okay. It's the next figure. Man, these look so cool. I don't know. Scientists do just a great job making really pretty figures. There's definitely an aesthetic or art to presenting data. It's, I don't know, it's not it's not quite a science, I guess. It's an art. So let's see here. Here we have some kind of F value, F of A given B. I don't know what, see if remembering back to my genetics classes, that F might stand for, might be some kind of inbreeding or something to do with population structure, something like that. And so the population structure, something is decreasing over time. Let's see here. Effective population size of lions. Oh, I see. It's not. I thought this y-axis was on a different scale and that 20 lions was the maximum population size, but it's actually like 200,000. So, yeah, as you might expect, just an absolute plummet in lion population numbers. No surprise there, I guess. And time on the x-axis, I guess. And it's logarithmic, some strange form of years. I guess that could be, maybe that's a mutation rate of some kind. That mu letter. This is a cool heat map. Let's see here. So I think this is showing, okay, I think this is some kind of distance matrix where, so a distance matrix shows how different two or it makes a pairwise comparisons among um, a bunch of different items and shows how different each pair of items is from one another. So I guess in this case, um, like in this case, Asia and Gabon lions are really different from one another because those correspond to a cell that is red, so it has some kind of high Z score. And you can use distance matrices like these to construct phylogenies like the one we saw on the previous figure. All right, let's go down, see what else we can learn about these lions. Oh, geez. If I could scroll properly. My computer is lagging so hard right now. You know, when I got this computer, it was like top of the line. That was like maybe 5 years ago, I think. Maybe only like 4 years ago. And now I feel like, I don't know, now I feel like every time I send an email, I'm putting myself in danger of crashing. It's not quite that bad, but it will be time for me to get a new computer soon. Okay, so now we have a different kind of figure. And now we're showing increases in lion population size over time, or effective population size anyway, just slightly different from population size. Um, there's a nice Wikipedia page about the difference if you're curious. Showing how another kind of, I don't know, phylogeny, I guess, showing differences in lion evolution, how the ancestral lion went into split off into cave lion populations and different African lion populations. Let's see here. Next figure. Ah, here we go. Okay, so this looks interesting. Okay, guess we'll start with this one down here. I'm learning it as we go along here, so I may not always be able to explain what I'm reading, but eventually I'll get better at this stuff. I'm still a student after all. So on the x-axis we have homozygous tract length in base pairs. So homozygous. So homozygous, I'm familiar with the term. There's a lot of terminology here, but when an organism is homozygous, that essentially means that it's so most organisms have multiple copies of their genome. Humans, for example, have 2 copies of a genome. And when we are born, we get 1 copy from our mom and 1 copy from our dad. If there is a particular region of the genome from our mom and if the same, let's see, how do I explain this? If the same genomic regions between your mom's copy and your dad's copy are the same, then you are said to be homozygous at that particular location in your genome. So here we're showing lengths of homozygosity in lion genomes, and here we have fraction of the genome. So essentially what this is showing is that the genomes of lions are becoming more homozygous over time. And what that means, based on what I know, that increased homozygosity comes from smaller population sizes, less genetic variation, and lots of inbreeding, which um, I think that's pretty well studied actually. I think it's pretty well documented that um, lions are becoming more inbred because of their low population sizes. Let's see here. And here we're showing on the y-axis heterozygosity. So heterozygosity is kind of the opposite of homozygosity. With heterozygosity, if two, so if at a particular region in your genome, your mom's copy and the copy of genome that you get from your mom and the copy that you get from your dad, if those two copies are different at a certain location, then you are said to be heterozygous at that location. And so I guess this is just showing the distribution of heterozygous locations across different lion populations. India won in this case, and Tanzania won. All right. Let's see if there are any more figures here. No, I just kind of scrolled to the end. All right. Let's see if we can look at one more paper. Coming up on about a half hour, so let's see. Let's pick a different topic. Not much of a biochemistry guy, although it is pretty interesting. Computational biology, ooh, that could be fun. How about, oh man, so many choices. Cell biology. Let's do cell biology. Close that previous one. More yeast, boring. Cancer, Ooh, hair cells, that could be interesting. Mitochondria, also cool. Let's see here. Try another page. See, my plan would be to, once I actually have viewers, could have viewers in the chat just type in whatever paper they want to look at, and then we can talk about it together. But for now, you know, I just have free reign. Well, I don't know, nothing's jumping out at me there, so let's try one more time. Let's try ecology. Invasive species. Oh, interesting. Actually, I think I was browsing this earlier and I saw a paper to do with coronavirus that looked really interesting, but I'm not really seeing it anymore. Could talk about bees some more. Dust bowl paradox. Animal body size. Arctic tundra. Let's see here. I just need to pick something. So many good things to read, but can't read them all. Oh wait, guinea pigs? Oh man, this paper's on guinea pigs. Let's read that. I have a soft spot for adorable animals. Dental microwear, texture formation in guinea pigs. These guys like brushing the teeth of guinea pigs or what? Dental wear, diet reconstruction, trying to predict the diets of long dead guinea pigs. Let's look at the figures. I just skimmed the little summary at the top there. See what it was about. Hopefully this isn't behind a paywall. Ah, yeah, subscription. Jeez, we're not doing that. Thank you. Should not have to pay for science. This knowledge belongs to humanity. Or that's just my opinion anyway. This would eventually load. Could read all guinea pigs. While that's loading, let's see if I can look at figures through here. No, of course not. Have the person wave at us again. Oh, wait. Dang it. Yeah, Google Chrome isn't too great for using Sci-Hub to download papers that you normally can't access. I think Firefox works a little bit better. When I switch browsers, the frame rate on the stream just drops dramatically. So I'm gonna avoid that for now. Try to find something that I can actually read. So I don't know if you guys can see this, but beneath these papers, there's always like an add to cart button for $10. Like, hey, it's like, I don't know, Amazon or something where you pay $10 to read a research paper. I don't know who actually pays money to read these articles. I mean, institutions do, obviously. Like, if you go to a university, the university will pay subscriptions to a bunch of different journals so that students can access them in school accounts for classes or research or whatever. But as far as like, if you're just a civilian and you're just browsing these websites, you don't want to pay money. Or use a service like Sci-Hub to get it for free, because you should not have to pay for this stuff. Seems really immoral to me, but whatever. I get on my soapbox. Okay. Did I even download the right paper? Oh, I just went to another paper that I could actually access. So here we have a paper about trees. Okay. Trees are pretty cool, They produce oxygen, keep you alive. Most of us owe our lives to trees. So let's see what this paper has to tell us about trees. Come on. I know you can do it. Well, I think my computer's just utterly frozen now. Oh wait, no, I see a table. I'm just jumping around the paper. Okay, here we go. All right, let's zoom in on this guy. Okay, so here we have a nice line plot with latitude on the horizontal axis and onset date of wood something. I can actually scroll up. Come on. My computer is just... Okay, here we go. Stop. Okay, perfect. Onset date of wood formation. Okay. So Looks like the date at which wood forms varies with latitude on the Earth. Okay. Different biomes, many different species of trees. Pretty interesting relationship. It begins at low latitudes. Wood forms really early in the year, looks like, but then date of wood formation increases, then plateaus as you move to higher latitudes. Okay, that's interesting. Table, I'm not going to read a table. That would be terribly boring. Oh man, this looks cool. 3D surface. I tell you, 3D plots are kind of like, I don't know, they're one of the, like, they're so cool that they're just fun to look at. You don't even really have to know what's going on to have them catch your eye. I know I've presented research sometimes at conferences where people would come up to me to talk about whatever research I was doing. And the reason they came up to me was because I had a picture of a 3D plot behind me like this. And they were like, man, that plot looks so cool. Why don't you just tell me more about that? I want to know more about that. So really, you can't, seems like to me, you really can't underestimate the importance of pretty figures in communicating science. So what on earth is going on here? So we have forcing, F-U, try to be mature here, temperature, and then onset of wood formation. So it looks like wood forms very late in the year when temperatures are very cold, and there's a lot of forcing going on, whatever that is. And then the next panel shows I'm not sure why they have both colors and a z-axis here. I think you could project this surface onto these two dimensions right here, temperature and chilling, and then just show the colors. I think that would communicate the same information, right? Nonetheless, this looks pretty cool. And so here they're showing, okay, so again, wood forms late in the year when temperatures are cold. There are a lot of chilling days. I think a chilling day could be like a day when it's cold enough for ice to freeze. I don't know. Onset date of wood formation. Temperature. What do they mean by temperature here? It's just like annual temperature, mean temperature. Okay, mean annual temperature. That's what the caption says. Oh, cool. I've seen bar graphs like these before. So I have some models, some biomes, and then different factors that this study is investigating in different colors. And then on the x-axis here, we have components of variance. So a lot of science reduces down to explaining variation in nature, explaining why there is, especially in the realm of biology, a lot of like the most basic biological questions in my mind form around, why do organisms vary? Why is there so much variation that we observe in the natural world? How did that variation come about? Why is that variation still around? What are the causes of the variation? Looks like they're kind of getting at that here. And they have this mean annual temperature seems to explain of a lot of variance in some trait among these different biomes and models. And then the remaining variation, or let's see, we have random variation and unexplained variation, which is relatively small across all the models, which seems relatively good. And photoperiod seems to be a big influencer in this model up here, but for none of the others, which is interesting. Still don't know what forcing is. Could probably Google that, but I don't want to drop my frame rates any more than I already have to. All right, I think that was the last figure. Okay, so yeah, so there's no one here on the stream, so thank you very much for watching. Oh wait, there actually was a guy on this stream? Oh man, City Z Master. Well, sorry man, I didn't see that you were. Man, someone was actually watching me. I'm very surprised. I'm very surprised someone was watching me. But let's see. Yeah, I wasn't sure what mu meant either. Oh, let's see. Oh, you said it was the mean. Yeah, that could have been it. Didn't actually read, but who knows? Well, yeah. Hopefully you come back for another Journal Club City Z Master. I think I'm gonna end the stream, but I think I'll record again later today, maybe around 11. Let's see, what time is it where I am? So it's about 10 o'clock where I am. I might record again in an hour or so, depending on how I feel. And hopefully, I'm thinking this will become a um, more regular thing. Want to do it at least twice a week if I can, probably on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday. But you know, if I'm feeling up to it, I'll just throw on Twitch and see what happens. So I think there's actually one guy watching me right now. So whoever you are, thanks for watching, and yeah, have a good rest of your day.